Om. 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 Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramadhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om. My pranams to all Atmajyotis, divine light of the self. I welcome all of you to today's session of Bhagavad Gita Shankara Bhashyam. I am not a Pandita, I am not a Jnani, I am not a Guru. I am just a student who is conducting this study hour. I am studying Bhagavad Gita Shankara Bhashyam, making various books, referring various books, and making some notes. I am sharing that notes in this session. If there are any mistakes in my understandings, I beg your pardon. Please consider this as a child student who is doing his studies. Let me share my screen. So, we have completed Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, shloka number 11. So far, that's where Shankaracharya's commentary starts from chapter 2, shloka number 11. We have completed shloka number 11. We are moving on to shloka number 12. So, he starts this with Kutah te ashocyaha yataha nityaha katham. Why is death of Bhishma and Drona not to be grieved? In shloka number 11, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says that Arjuna, do not grieve for the impending death of Bhishma and Drona, because they need not be grieved about. But why are they not to be grieved? Because they are eternal. There is no death to them. How can you say that they are eternal? How can you consider them as eternal? Let us see. Why they are eternal? Why Krishna is saying they are eternal? We have to see. See, this sentence is the connection between shloka number 11 and shloka number 12. Shankaracharya is making a continuity between shloka number 11 and 12. If you study Bhagavad Gita just like that, you will not have a continuous thought. Why Krishna is saying is explained by Shankaracharya here. In Shloka number 11, he has explained that Bhishma and Drona's death need not be grieved and they are eternal. How can they be considered as eternal? The justification is given in the Shloka number 12. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, Shloka 12. Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadipaha na chaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamata param. What is the meaning of this? There was never a time when I did not exist. Krishna is saying this. There was never a time when you did not exist. There was never a time when all these kings did not exist. There will never be a time in future when we cease to, all of us cease to exist upon falling of the body. So here is an important sloka. In this sloka, it is told by Bhagavan Sri Krishna that we are eternal. The Nityatva of the Atma is established in this shloka. Atma is eternal, is being stated here. If you see, there is a negation two times. There was never a time when I did not exist. That means I exist always. I existed before. You existed before, he's saying to Arjuna. And he's also saying all these kings also existed before. There will never be a time in future when we cease to exist. That means in future also we will continue to exist. And he also adds, upon falling of the body. That means bodies can fall, but we continue to exist as existence. This is the meaning of this shloka, very important shloka. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, chapter 2, shloka 11 to I think 32 or 33, talks about Sankhya Yoga. It is establishes the Atma Jnana. It talks about Atma and clearly tells what is Atma. You are Atma and you are eternal. There is only one and only one Atma, non-dual Atma, Advaita Atma. This is all Krishna's teaching initially to Arjuna. Shankara Bhashyam. What is the Bhashyam of Shankara? Freely translated. I have referred to few books and based on those books, I have made these notes. So I'll be reading out that. There never was a time when I was not existing. I was there always. The space in a pot doesn't get destroyed upon destruction of a pot. What does this mean? There is a pot. Pot comes into being. The space in the pot was there before. When the pot came into being, it is there. When the pot is destroyed, space is always there. Similarly, Atma is there before also. When the body is made, Atma is there. When the body is destroyed, Atma is there. Atma is always here and now, always present. As Atma, Krishna is referring that I was always existing. There never was a time when I was not existing. Just like that, like the pot, space in a pot, I was always existing upon birth and death of bodies. Therefore, you also never cease to exist. You always exist. He is saying this to Arjuna. Similarly, all these kings exist always. No question of all these kings not existing at any time. Similarly, when these bodies are destroyed, we don't cease to exist. Definitely we will exist as Atma, consciousness, spirit. We are beyond past, present, and future. We are eternal as Atma. The plural we he has used in this sloka, plural sense. We is used. That refers to multiple bodies, not intended for plurality of Atma. Atma is unitary. This is the Shankara Bhashyam. Okay. Further explanation. It was mentioned that Bhishma and Drona are eternal from the absolute Atma point of view, and therefore one should not grieve for their death. So a question can be raised. How are they eternal? What is the pramana, authenticity or proof for that? How can you say that they are eternal? Krishna declares that all of us are eternal as Atma. That is a pramana itself in some way. In one way, if Krishna says all of us are eternal as Atma, you have to take that word. You should not question that word. However, logically we can say how Atma is eternal. There is something called bhava karya, means an existing thing. Something happened, an object came into being that has a beginning in time. Before the object comes into existence, its non-existence, prakabhava, it is called in logic. Prakabhava means, abhava means non-existence. Prakabhava means before the object comes into existence, its non-existence is there. When its non-existence is there, that is the cause of the existence of the object. The non-existence of the object exists before the existence of the object and is the seed from which the existence has come about. So, prakabhava karana means cause, is there before any bhava karya. Non-existence is the seed from which existence of an object comes. If a pot is there, then non-existence of pot was there before. Similarly, the cause of existence of every object is its non-existence. From its not being there is coming about. Is that clear? Okay, follow the logic. I am born some 50 years back. Before 50 years back, this body was not there. From not being there to being there, this has come up. So, not being there, not there is the cause for being there. Okay? It's the seed from which being there has come about. That is the karana, this is the karya. Cause and effect. Karya means effect, karana means cause. That was the cause, this is the effect. Okay. Now, how Atma is eternal? Atma exists at all times as per Shruti. Shruti says Atma is eternal. All the Shruti Vakyas say Atma is eternal. We should not doubt the Shruti Vakyas. We have to accept the Shruti as Pramana. If you do not accept Shruti as Pramana, then we have no discussion with you. Okay? Shruti is the Pramana based on which we say Atma exists at all times. Atma is beyond time as per Shruti. Shruti is the Pramana. We can quote various sutras or something from the Shruti Pramana, mantras we can quote to prove that Atma is eternal. As Atma exists at all times, there never was a time Atma did not exist. Therefore, Atma has no prak-abhava. Is this clear? There never was a prak-abhava for Atma. There never was something like non-existence of Atma. Atma has no prak-abhava. Okay, now this logic is clear. Okay, now following up, how Atma has no birth. If there is no prak-abhava for an object, that object cannot come into existence. It cannot take birth. Correct? Anything that comes into being has a prak-abhava. Since Atma has no prak-abhava, Atma has no birth. Is this logic clear? Okay, we'll come to that. As Atma has no prak-abhava, Atma has no birth. Which has no birth cannot die. Therefore, Atma cannot die even though bodies take birth and die. As Bhishma, Drona are of the nature of Atma, from absolute point of view of Atma, they are eternal. This is the logic. Clear? Okay. In Brahma Sutra, second Adhyaya, third Pada, Sutra 16, Adhikarana 10, it is said, birth and destruction are for bodies, upadis. As Atma is nirupadika, without upadi, there is no birth and destruction for Atma. Similarly, in another place, Brahma Sutra, it said, Atma doesn't change in past, present, and future, and there is no birth or death for Atma. Okay, so these are the basis for saying that Atma has no birth or death. It always exists. Is Atma singular or plural? Are there many Atmas? You have an Atma, I have an Atma. Are there multiple Atmas? Multiple bodies is accepted. Multiple minds are accepted. Multiple intellects are accepted. But multiple Atmas are not accepted. There is only one Atma, that is Paramatma. There is only one Atma. In this shloka, Gita chapter 2, shloka number 12, the plural is used, Vayam and Neme Janadipa. Plural is used. So a question can be raised, are there multiple Atmas? Shankara says, the plural is used only with respect to the multiple bodies and not with respect to Atma. Atma is one and only one, which is present in all bodies equally. Okay, what is the basis of this? How can we say that Atma is singular? In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, shloka 20, it is said, Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhutashaya Stitaha. Aham Adischa Madhyam Cha Bhutanam Anta Evacha. Krishna says, He is the Atma in all beings. He is the beginning, middle, and end of all beings. So this proves that Atma is singular, Advaita, non-dual. Singular is also not right word. Okay, that ends this today's session. Any questions?
No questions, Prasad ji. It was a beautiful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Manoj?
No, thanks. Nothing from my side.
Okay. Thank you. Let us close the session. Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you very much. How do I make?
Prasadji, thank you for conducting these sessions in spite of your tough personal and professional commitments. So really grateful for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay.
We'll see you next week.
See you next. Thank you.